There is this science fact that football teams wearing red kits play way better. I think ndio maana kuna team fulani inavaga blue mahali imeshindwa kucheza football. Najua nikisema Chelsea utasema na hate. A review of football matches in the last 55 years showed that teams wearing a red kit consistently played better in home matches than teams in any other colors. We are here to confirm that tonight. And if it's true, I'll be here to tell you. The color of your clothes can affect how you're perceived by others and change how you feel. In other studies, people photographed wearing a red or black t-shirt were viewed as being more attractive than those wearing any other color. Wearing red can also lead to better physical performance. Interesting. Dope interesting, that one. What's good, people? Once again, welcome to the SOS podcast, the epitome of edutainment, where we turn anything into a conversation. I'm your host. My name is Kipkaskei. How are you doing? How's everything on your end going on? On my end, all is well. It's been a while, a lot of activities happening here and there, but at least I can record this episode. Yeah, they always say that email passwords are the most insecure things. We all know what it is like to feel as insecure as an email password. We know we should raise our hand in class, but we're afraid we'll sound stupid. We pine silently for our crush, but keep our distance so they don't laugh in our face. We want to voice our ideas in the meeting, but can't find the words until we hear someone else say them first. Call it social anxiety, self-doubt, or inhibition. Whatever we call it, it is insecurity, and it's a universal part of the human condition. This urge to hide starts with the perception that something is wrong with us. We are awkward, annoying, boring, stupid, or a big loser, incompetent, or any of a million other not good enough traits. And we think unless we conceal our perceived flaws, it will become obvious to everyone, who will then judge and reject us. Why do we have insecurities? According to some theorists, Carl Jung, I don't know if I've done justice to his name, in quote, he said that everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and the denser it is. I think the primary root of insecurity is the fear that you aren't enough, that who you are isn't good enough for someone or something. People who are insecure typically have low self-esteem, which could have a variety of causes, perhaps unresolved issues from their childhood. Their insecurities stems primarily from negative and erroneous beliefs about themselves. Someone who is insecure about, let's say, their looks, perhaps because of some undesirable facial features, is afraid that the defect, in quotes, defect, will somehow prevent them from succeeding or getting what they want. They imagine people hating them, or that nobody will ever fall in love with them because of it. It stems from a belief that there is something wrong with you. Some people try to get approvals from others, and they are in a passive position. The passive position is the position in which you are constantly seeking approval for any of your moves, and you are subservient to others because you think that probably you're not good enough. I think insecurities comes from painful life experiences, like getting rejected, or being betrayed by your partner, or mistreated, humiliated, and unappreciated, probably abandoned by your friends, colleagues, parents, probably. If you have had some of that, gradually the negativities are observed by your mind, consciously or unconsciously, and toxics ins, toxics out. In turn, your mind will generate destructive thoughts towards yourself. You know that inner voice that occasionally tells us how bad we are, that we are unwanted, we are not good enough, or how big of a disappointment we've become. It tends to get stronger. Our self-esteem gets lower each time we experience such hurtful events. Thus, we become more and more insecure. Also, insecurities can be as a result of high or harsh social standards imposed on you in terms of physical appearance, field of work, social class, income, material possession, origin, and whatnot. Basically, they tell you who you have to be, what you have to do in order to become worthy. Though many of these standards are ridiculous, but if people around you still worship them, well, you can't keep up with any of that. Again, that inner voice shall become more and more vocal, making you feel inadequate. This the paradox of choice. It is also an interesting phenomenon of the modern life, in which describes like this. Nowadays, we are offered more freedom and more choices. Personal, professional, material. People have actually become more depressed. Barry wrote in his book, The Paradox of Choice. He wrote that infinite choices is paralyzing and exhausting to the human physique. It leads us to set unreasonably high expectation, questions our choices before we even make them, and blame our failures entirely on ourselves. In other words, if there are so many alternatives for every choices we make, we end up questioning our decisions, filled with uncertainties, insecurities, and especially guilt when things turn out as not as we expected. Let's take this illustration. There are two men. Let's call them Stan and Victor. Yeah, these guys are going to finish me today. So let's take this illustration. Stan and Victor, both of them are deeply insecure. They are overweight, in deep debt, single, and struggling with deep depression. Stan understands the system mentality, and Victor does not. Victor continues living with his life spiraling out of control, believing that God has cursed him, and that he's unlucky, and that his life just plainly sucks. As you can imagine, nothing changes for Victor, and more than a decade passes him, and he's just as insecure and frustrated as before. Stan, on the other hand, realizes that his insecurity and subpar quality of life are due to the system that he has in place. So Stan dissects the system and realizes that his insecurity is largely due to his weight and physical fitness, his financial insecurity and massive amounts of debt, his lack of romantic companionship and social relation. He does not get emotional when he examines and dissects his insecurities. He simply acknowledges them for what they are. Now Stan understands the primary system driving his insecurities. He dissects the subsystems driving this primary system. And when he looks at the system behind his obesity and physical health, he noticed that he doesn't do exercise. His diet is compromised. He rarely gets a good night of sleep. He spends an exorbitant amount of time playing PUBG. His blood and brain chemicals are completely imbalanced due to years of improper dieting and childhood obesity. Again, he examines these facts objectively and without emotion and realizes that each of these subsystems can be broken down even further. The more Stan looks at it, the more overwhelmed he becomes, until he realizes that he can achieve confidence and personal security by making tweaks to the current system that he has in place. Understanding the system mentality He knows that it will be easier to stack big wins by fast changing system that are already in place instead of implementing entirely new system. So for the first 90 days of his life, of his, let's say, new life, the only change Stan makes is to how he handles his diet. He prepares breakfast foods in bulk, since he has heard that eating 30 grams of protein upon waking will help stave off cravings later in the day. He starts chewing gum to make it less likely that he'll succumb to salty snacks throughout the day. He rigs the system in his favor, and within only 90 days, he has lost 30 pounds of fat and feels better than ever has. Over the next years, Stan systematically changes, tweaks, adds, and perfects the system in his life until he becomes more confident man with an incredible physique, a booming business, an amazing romantic partner, and a social cycle most people will kill for. On the other end, Victor is still lamenting about his insecurities. And that's how life works. God didn't curse you. You aren't unlucky. And no one gives a flip whether you succeed or fail. The only reason you're insecure is because you have systems in your life that aren't serving you and are pushing you towards your highest potential. When you can shift the focus of yourself and onto the system creating results in your life, you will quickly realize that with hard work, tweaking, and a little bit of time, anything is attainable, and insecurities is naturally replaced by confidence. Secure people know they have value. Even if they have undesirable faults, the fact that they are secure has little to do with their level of success or attractiveness. It is due to a deep belief in their own self-worth. They do not really care if other people are more successful or attractive. They just worry about living their life and improving themselves as much as they can. Being secure means knowing that you are worthy of being valued, even though you know you aren't perfect. Some people have minor insecurities and some people have major insecurities. Insecurities can be deep rooted. It isn't a matter of achieving a state of having no insecurity, but it's a matter of feeling more confident. All you can do is face every insecurity head on, or face your fears and push it through until you come to the other side. Changing thinking on matters through positive thinking and realizing that what you cannot change will help elevate some insecurities. Say no to some behaviors and treatments. Express yourself. Speak out your thoughts and feelings. Just agree to disagree and let your boundaries be known. Listen, ignore, and silently focus on your development and improvement, and do not take them seriously. When you know yourself well, there's no need of endorsement or validation from others. Keep your self-esteem high. Be confident. Feel secure in your abilities. Let go that need for others' approval. Just say no and disagree with the conviction. No need to worry what others think or feel. Your self-respect, self-esteem, self-image, and self-concept are supreme. And that's it, guys, for today. Have a wonderful week ahead. See you on the next. Peace.